What's up? What's up? It's time for Done Way Past Funny with your host, G.D. Fenderson. Join us as we take a look back at the early works of seasoned comedians before they were seasoned with this week's guest, Allison Dyen. It's time to get down and get dope with Done Way Past Funny. Hi, I'm G.D. Fenderson, certified forensic humorist and host of Done Way Past Funny. Thank you for joining us as we continue our interview with comedian and actress Allison Dyen. Enjoy. I was like,
In the moment, though, you can't think of things. Like if someone confronts me with something, I'm the type of person where, like, I'll do my best to defend whatever my position is. But then later on, I'm like, I should have said this and I should have said that. And then I'll want to call them and then I'll want to text them. And they're like so over it by then. And I'm like, but I'm not. I got to get this out.
I have a 15-minute routine about that. You know, about something that happened in the 5th grade. And I didn't, and that's something. It was a spelling bee, and it was a girl I liked. I liked her, and we were the last two in the spelling bee.
Aww.
And I let her win because I thought winning didn't mean anything to me. And look at that! Oh, that's so. Thank you. That was not the reaction she gave me. Huh. When it was over with, I congratulated her, and I said, "Congratulations, Antoinette. Can I walk you home from school?" She goes, "No." She goes, "Because you're a loser." And I said, now, my reaction was, "I let you win." Now, and that's not.
How do you prove that now?
Right. But, and it wasn't until and I said, and literally, I was reliving that moment 20 years later. I was 28 years old. And I thought of what I should have said. 28 years, I was 20 years later, and that's the basis of the joke. I don't say I should. So when I tell the story on stage, and she goes, "No, you're a loser." I said, what I should have said was, and I do this whole thing, and I said, and everybody goes "Oh," and I said, "Yeah, that's great." 20 years later, but what I said 20 years ago was, the 20 years prior was "I let you win." And she goes, "Oh, then you're a loser and you're stupid."
Which was a pretty good comeback.
Yeah. So I was like,
so why would I want you to walk me home?
Right, yeah. You have no ambition, no drive. You can't go for the kill. Yeah.
See, I'm different. I would have been like, "Oh, that was so sweet."
And that's what I thought. I thought that was so you, because I was like, "Woman, I could have cleaned your clock." No, but to this day, I remember that word was Hanenput. Okay. Yes. I'm 64 years old, and I still remember the word that I gave up on in a 5th grade spelling bee. Hanenput. Haanenpoot.
Oh my God! Have you looked her up on social media to see?
Yeah, it's a South African grape. It's their way of saying honeypot. There's a honeypot grape, but in South Africa, a 5th grader. If you were in my spelling bee, no, 5th grader, I knew that, and so I knew what a Hanenpoot was in the 5th grade. Yeah, so I was showing off. Yeah. I've gotten there. Yeah, it's Hanenpoot. I know exactly what it is, and I can spell it with the double A and the double O. Yeah. And I let her win.
Yeah. I wish it's like that bitch. I wish you let her win.
Yeah. I should. That could have probably changed my entire life. Just think about that. If I'd won, but the thing is, I didn't lose any confidence over the contest. I didn't care about the spelling bee.
Right, because you knew. Yeah.
Yeah. I was I get this word, I win. But if I let her win, she'll be happy, and I can, I was like, so it's just,
see, you were underappreciated.
Yes, I was chivalrous and stupid and a loser.
But
funny. The chivalry, yeah, because I was chivalrous even in elementary school, but it's just no. See, it's just stupid girls. No, no.
Stupid girls. Oh man. Hey, we're just as jerky as guys. It's
yeah. Believe me, I,
there's
yeah, that's funny. It does. I was talking to a guy today. Where's my brain? It was Matt. Earlier was talking about. He was talking about and I don't know if he was because I started doing comedy at 54.
okay.
54 years, 10 months. I say 55, but my brain tells me I have to be, 54-10. It's 54 years, 10 months, 55. But I started late. And Matt said something like, and comedians that start late, comedy is a young man's game. Comedians that start late, how do they relate to the younger audiences? It's like, well, one thing that's universal is relationships. That's universal, and that's where most of my crossover stuff is it's in a relationship because, like I said, the thing about the fifth grade spelling bee thing, I'm sorry, any guy who's ever been called a loser and stupid knows, that it doesn't matter how old you are, what year it is, it hurts the same way.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's certain universal things, universal life experiences for sure.
Yeah, and that's my thing. But even though I'm in my 60s, when I can do the young crowds, which people don't think I can. But it's like, yeah, because they think young crowds and they think young comedians, and all they hear are dick jokes and bad crowd work. I was like, no, I don't do dick jokes. I do thoughtful penis commentary. No. No.
I think too, a lot of older comedians, and I guess younger comedians do this too sometimes if they're performing in front of an older crowd, is that you can point out the differences, right? You can be like, oh, you guys don't know this because you're so young, but whatever.
Yeah, but only why I don't do is because that's where most people do that. Most people like women be like, old people be like, young people be like. It's like, no, I'm more like, yeah, if you're lucky, you'll get to be this old. Because your options are get this old or die. That's it. That's it. It's not like you have another option. It's like I'm going to be 30 and then 45 forever. It's like, no, you're going to be 30, 31, and if you're lucky, to 60, 61, 60. Yeah. So respect your fucking elders, because if you're lucky, you'll be this old.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah. So, but it was funny to think that, and that's part of the thing how comedy divides us up like that. It's like, no, and they're also underestimating it because, like, true, I cannot do the story of the experience of a white woman in comedy. I mean, I know comedy for you as far as the respect to what's expected of you as a comedian. Because I'm pretty. I hate to say this, but it's true. For the most part, when an audience, when other comedians, shouldn't say that, when other comedians see a woman doing comedy, they don't expect her to be as funny.
Yeah, I agree.
They expect her to be funny for a woman.
Yeah,
and I think you're funny for a person.
Oh, thank you.
Regardless of the woman thing, it's like, yeah, if you were a man and you substituted somebody else, I still think you'd be funny, so.
Yeah, and it's weird. I feel like there's like, sometimes being a woman, and I'm not another minority other than a woman, so I don't know if you experience this too. Is that there's sort of like a double-edged sword to it, right? So there are some men that think because I'm a woman, I can get away with saying things that they can't get away with.
Right.
And like, I can be dirtier and people are going to think it's cute because I'm a woman and like I can get away with it. And then there are, bookers out there that don't want a dirty female comic. They're like, oh, that's hacky, or that's being that you're going for like the low hanging fruit being dirty because like you're a woman, and like us men, we have to like work harder or something to like be more creative. So like there's people that I think being a female comedian might in some ways be easier, or that they can get away with more things than like a male comic can.
Right.
But I don't really think that that's true. I think and everybody has a different opinion about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like if I'm really dirty, I mean, I had a male comic come up to me once and he said, I just want to let you know that a lot of male bookers, when you do a dirty joke, even if it gets a big laugh, are going to be like, well, that was just too easy. Like that, because you're a woman, you can get away with it. And like, that was too easy. So you should never be that filthy. He said, be fresh, don't be filthy. And I was
what does that mean?
Right. And I'm like, why does it matter? I see men tell dirty jokes all the time. It's not like anyone's out there telling guys they can't tell dirty jokes.
Yeah. I hear it so often. I'm sick of it. I honestly, I can't. When I go to a club, sometimes I'll go to a club to literally to be supportive of a friend. I'm not on the bill. I'm not performing, and I have no shot of getting into that club. Being performed. I'm literally there to support a friend. But there's like 5 comedians on the bill, and 4 of them would be guys, and I have to listen to like dick joke after dick joke after dick joke after masturbation joke. It's like, really? Mm-hmm. I said, is that it? Is that all you've got? And I'm like, yeah. It's like, no, tell me something. Tell me something that I can't do. Show me something that that's one reason why I love women comics. I'm not saying I don't like men comics, but if you're a guy comic, show me something that I can't do, or something fresh. Even if we're talking about the same thing, like we all have penises. Tell me something about a penis that I don't know. Something fresh.
Right, and that's the other thing too. It's like a dirty joke. There's smart dirty jokes.
Yes, yeah.
There's good dirty jokes. Dirty doesn't mean that it's a bad joke. It can be smart. It can be creative. It can be different. It's just sometimes when it's dirty, people, just like, oh, that's easy. That was cheap, or something like that. But so I don't know. I feel like being a female comic, that's kind of like the weird thing about it. And it's just like sometimes you get spun in different like directions.
Yeah.
Like being a female comic, or like I've had people say to me, oh, if you're a female comic, you shouldn't be dirty like right away. Like, oh, Amy Schumer could be dirty because like she's paid her dues. And I'm like, well, when do you think she was practicing the dirty jokes?
Well, she has a list. She has like, okay, here we go. I can do it right here. My dues are paid right here. I can start on November 22nd, 2024. I can start being dirty.
Right. So like, I feel like for a woman, I'm like, are men having these conversations, or is this like a woman thing? So, like, I mean, I don't know, because I'm only a woman. So like, I've only had the female experience. I don't know what men experience, but I feel like sometimes I kind of get like various advice that is specific to female comics, if that makes any sense.
And I think in my mind, I think you're getting advice from people who have mother issues. Like they see you up there and it's like, I would hate for my mom to talk like that. Or I would hate for my sister to talk like that. Right. Or my daughter better not ever talk like that. I can't imagine, because she's like the same age as my daughter. I can't imagine my daughter talking about sex. Matter of fact, my daughter may not be having sex with her husband or anybody else.
Any grandkids.
I don't know where those grandkids came from, but my daughter wasn't having sex.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so sometimes it's nothing to do with you. They don't see you. It's like, they just see that you're a woman, and they're superimposing their feelings about women on you. Sometimes it's what it is.
Yeah, and I think that's what I feel like. I resent when people say like, "Oh, it's easier." Like it's easier to be a woman. It's not easier to be anything in comedy. Comedy is hard.
Yeah, like, period. Yeah.
There's nothing that makes it easier. I mean, I don't. There's people that have a natural, more of a natural ability where things might come quicker to them. But I really don't think there's anything you can be that's going to make it easier, than what it is. If a
woman is a comedian and she's too attractive, then they're like, oh, she can't be funny. She's too cute, or if she's not attractive enough, it's like, well, I'm not even gonna pay attention to her, or she's not even gonna get booked. Who's gonna want to look at that for 20 minutes on stage? So
Right. Or like,
yeah,
oh, she talked about being fat. Ugh, like that's been done before. Like,
yeah,
oh, she talked about, but like, it's like I remember being in LA doing open mics, and my husband and I always had this running joke because guys, like as you said, would always get up and they'd have all these penis jokes.
right.
And there was this guy who got up there and he just said, this is his first line. He just said, "So I was looking at my dick the other day." And everybody just bust out laughing. And so I get up there and I'm like, "So I was looking at my dick the other day." And I'm like, I just wanted to see if that would work for me too. I just wanted to see if it would work. But yeah, it was just like dick joke after dick joke after dick joke. But then like if I say anything dirty, there was like 20-year-old guys. It was like stone faced.
Yeah.
And then one guy came up to me after an open mic and he said to me, "Hey, you were really good. I just want you to know that this crowd is like really weird about sex stuff. Like they just don't laugh at it." I was just like, "Oh, okay."
Now, did they laugh at the other dick jokes that the other people were telling, or is just your sex
I think it's because I was a woman, and they're like 20-year-old guys, and they just like didn't like want to hear it from me for whatever. And I don't think that's true of all 20-year-old guys. Let me just state that for the record. I don't think that's true of everybody.
It's just all the ones that don't laugh. No,
it was just like this particular scene for some reason was like not into the dirty jokes from women, but
I was just saying because that goes something with a lot of, especially with your chivalry stuff. You're pointing out some of the flaws in relationships, and the sheer fact that you say to the woman like that was a good joke, and it was, but if he's not laughing, you can do better. Okay, that's so true, and that was like the second biggest applause break you got when it was like. Because it was so true, and the guys are going, like almost every guy who that you just described as being unsuccessful at even trying, they're like, what does she know?
Right.
What does she know? She doesn't know me, but the girlfriend or the wife is like, they say, yeah, but I know. She's right. I know. She may not know, but I know, and she's right.
Right, and if you were confident, then you'd be laughing.
Yeah.
Yes. To each their own. I was really, really happy with the response from that crowd, and I think I got lucky that there was a lot of females in that crowd.
Well, that's the other thing. Yeah, because like I said, because it was your first black crowd. I don't know if you've done others since then, like that side that ratio, but I'm saying, if the next time you listen to it, you could just listen to it, not you, but like to audience. Listen to the audience. It's so funny because it's a different show. Your audience. It's a different show because your audience is like interacting like a black movie to your material.
Yeah.
Like they're talking. There's like, just it's like I said, the shoes. It's funny. It's good.
Oh, thank you. I really enjoyed, going to Richmond. I'm glad I had that experience because it's just always nerve-wracking when you do material in front of a different crowd, whether it's like an all black crowd versus like a more white crowd, or just like a different, like this was in Richmond, Virginia. I'm from Massachusetts. Like, you kind of never really know if things are going to be relatable, in different areas. So it's always nerve-wracking, but that was a lot of fun. That was definitely like one of like, and that show we didn't mention this before, but that show was on April 20th.
Right. Yeah. Because you said 420
about being high, and I knew it was going to be a good show because when we got to my hotel room, my room number was 420.
Oh, That's two.
And I was like, this is gonna be a good. I think the show was like the next day. I'm like, this is gonna be a good show tomorrow. This is a sign.
It's funny how we want to look for things like that. It's like, because some of the pessimists were like, they're setting me up for failure. 420. What? No, that's anything. But yeah, it was good. Just looks at.
I forgot to mention that earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, because you mentioned in this, not the hotel, but in the sketch it says I'm high. No wait, it's 420. I better not be the only one.
Yeah.
But you started says I'm high. And I was, and since this morning or something like that, I can't remember.
Yeah, I said exactly. Hi, and everybody says hi back, and I go, and I have been since this morning.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I used that joke for a long time.
Yeah, it's one of those jokes that you can use. Well, I guess you can use it almost any time, but 420, it's almost like it's okay. It's obligatory.
It was the perfect day for that joke. It worked out
well. Well, I really appreciate you doing this with me. We've been talking probably for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
But actually, we've been talking for 3. We've got like 2.5 hours of the actual show. But
you have a lot of editing to do.
yeah. But I'm not going to edit it like down and out unless I'm talking too much. Then I'll edit my talking too much. And usually what I do is I will actually, if I cut it out, I will put like a little black block saying I blathered on for 10 minutes or I blathered on for 4 minutes. Just so people know. And then it's like, that's it. Because it's not unusual for me to run my mouth. And if it's not, and if it's beneficial to either the guest or the audience, I'll leave it in. But if it's not beneficial, if it's just like self-serving, or especially if it's something that I've said like 4 times before, because this is like my 80th episode or something, or whatever number this is, well, actually, you're like my 25th guest. I can't remember. 20th, maybe you're probably my 20th guest. So if I told the story a few times, then they can just look back at a previous episode, except for episode 1 or 2. That was episode 1 was pretty. The first couple episodes were pretty. I had a co-host, and he was really stoned, and so he was. And as a matter of fact, I'm saying this now, and I may have to bleep this out later because I'm gotten used to doing the show by myself, and I don't want to fit anybody else in.
Yeah, it'd be a different dynamic if you have a co-host now, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So. And so it was like funny the fact that because I said to him, well, if you want to come back, you can. It's like, I don't. Did I say that? I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. No, you can't come back. I'm having too much fun. No. So, is there anything that you want to mention or bring up that we didn't cover? Because I think we tried to cover everything.
No. I mean, that's pretty much the video is how I rememred it. I forgot I said a few jokes certain ways, because I've changed the way I've said them over the years. But yeah, this was really cool. This was a lot of fun going back and looking at something that's older, with fresh eyes, So that's really cool.
It's funny when the first concept when I first shopped this idea of a show to myself, the premise was that we would look at the earliest bit that we could find. And then if they wanted to, they could do the bit again, the way they would do it today.
Oh, okay.
And that was the original premise. And and when I felt, and to test the premise, I went first. We looked at my thing, and I had somebody else in my seat and the other co-hosts watching the thing. And then I realized how hard it would be for me to try to recreate or even I couldn't do the material again. I even wrote it down, and I couldn't. I was like, I can't. Some of this I can't even do. I can't. So I stopped. I decided if I couldn't do it, I'm not going to ask anybody else to do it.
Yeah, it's a different. My whole delivery, I feel like, is different. I mean, I still do one-liners, so like that's still pretty much the same. But it's like in the beginning when I first started, I always felt like I had to have like an attitude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to make it funny. But now I feel like when I say things, I say them a little bit more. I mean, I'm still animated, but a little bit more natural. Like I can tell that's not really my natural voice.
Right.
as much. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
tell I'm doing weird things with my voice to like exaggerate things and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
I noticed that. I noticed that right away. But I
Yeah.
didn't know how much that was your voice and how much it was like the sound system.
Oh no,
I
that's
didn't
me
know.
me
Yeah.
messing with my voice, like trying to. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
I don't remember why, but it's just how it naturally came
Yeah,
out.
because I noticed that, well, that and the pitch, because the first thing I noticed, like, it was like a little bit higher. The pitch was a little bit higher,
Yeah.
and I thought to myself, okay, that's different. But but again, there, there's a guy who does impressions. He does really good impressions. I mean, he does impressions for television.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and so when he was the person that told me I just need to produce my own shows. He goes, I opened for him, and he goes, "You're too good to be opening for other people. You need to have other people open for you." And this is like, he wasn't the first one to say it to me, you know, who was like a professional comedian, big time guy, but but I asked him, I said, when you do an impression, I said, every stage, every sound system is different. I said, but
Mm.
I've heard him do the same impressions at two different locations. So I haven't been with him like a lot, but two different places. And I said, in both places, your impressions sound the same, but
Mm.
the sound systems are different. I said, so when do you make the adjustment, or do you know you're making the adjustment? And he looked at me and he goes, I have no idea what's happening in there. And he goes, I never thought about it. He goes, now I want to know. And I really would like to try to get him on my show so I can ask him again. But
Yeah.
because he's really, like I said, it was just a fluke that I got to even open for him. It was because he's like, he's up there. I mean, I'm friends with him. I can message him, but I really feel weird doing it. But I'm gonna do it. You talked me into it. Damn it, you talked me into it. I'm gonna message him
You're
and
welcome.
and say I have my own show. This is something I've always wanted. It's something I asked you before. You didn't know the answer then. Do you know the answer now? And can we discuss it on my show? You talked me
Yeah.
into it. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting. I wonder if he does it so naturally with his voice. Maybe just does it so naturally that he can't pinpoint it. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
But
So
I don't do impressions. So like I'm not good
what?
at.
Lazy. Oh my God. What? How long you been doing comedy? For 6 years?
I can't do it. I can't even do a man's voice. When I do a man's voice, it's always silly. Like I guess I can do impressions. They're just bad.
Well, by your 7th year, you got to start adding impersonations to your repertoire. Otherwise, you're a nobody.
I
No, I'm just
got
kidding.
I gotta start doing those impressions.
Yeah.
Like
Otherwise, your career will go nowhere. Everybody does impersonations. No, just teasing.
I'll have to find someone who's very similar to me, and that will be my impersonation.
Yeah, like that. This is my impersonation of so, and then they just sound just exactly like you.
Like me.
All you have to do is pull your hair back instead of down.
Right. This is
It's like,
it. Put
this
on
is like,
glasses.
oh my God, that's her. That's exactly right. Oh my God, that's just
It
like her.
reminds me, there's a comic, and I can't remember his name. Well, I think I know his name, but I don't want to say it in case I'm wrong.
Right.
But it gets me every time, and it's like it's such like a silly thing, but it gets me every time. And he's a teacher, and he does this thing where he said, I'm a teacher, and then I forget, like, there's a line in between, but then he kind of turns around and he puts on sunglasses and he goes, now I'm a substitute teacher. And I know he's gonna do it, but like the way he says it and everything, like just gets me every time. But I guess maybe I could do an impression kind of like that.
Yeah, you see, but you can't do substitute teacher now, so now you have to do librarian.
Right, librarian, right.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
but you,
slutty librarian.
yeah. Just stand up and knowing your toes a little bit. You're like, now I'm a librarian.
Right. Something like that. Yeah. I'll work on that. I'll work on my impressions.
Okay, all right. So I'm glad I could help you with your career.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. I need all the help I can get. I take all advice.
So I appreciate you doing this with me, and as soon as this is as soon as it's ready, I'll let you know. Which is I'm gonna start editing. I don't even know what today is. Friday, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I'll probably start editing this Sunday or Monday, but once it's ready to go, I'll let you know, and you can tell your friends and everything, and
Yeah,
so
I'm
all right.
excited.
Oh, me too. Actually, I am too. So.
How many people are gonna get mad when I said that white people aren't as good at laughing?
3, but they're all friends of yours. They're all close friends of yours. One's a relative. One's a relative. It says, I laugh when I come to your shows. You say, I wasn't talking about you.
Right. I'm talking about in general.
Yeah. Not
We're more
you.
stoic.
You are a very good laugher. I like your laughter. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, I can't wait to see the final episode. I'm excited.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye now.